Hello and welcome along to Lancs TV, where we're joined in the studio here at Emirates Old Trafford by our Player of the Year, Josh Bohannon. And Josh, the big news is you've put pen to paper, signed a new deal that keeps you here until 2026.
I recently signed that, so that's all gone through, which is nice, and yeah, it gives me the sort of real excitement for the next 3 years to be playing at Emirates Old Trafford.
And your home county as well, does that make it a little bit more special?
Yeah, I think so. I think obviously gives you real sort of honour and pride and excitement for what we can do as a club, and again, like you said, for me to sign for a long time at my home club as well, and another 3 years at least, hopefully, then something that I'm really excited about.
What makes this place so special? Is it the pitch, the stadium, or is it the team, the coaching staff?
Probably a mixture of everything, to be fair. I think obviously the fact that it's my home county as well makes everything that bit more special. I think the venue that it's becoming, when you're in the middle, sort of all the stands and all the buildings around it, that is, it's becoming a real sort of venue now, and it's a real honour to play here. And then obviously mix that with sort of a great bunch of players and staff as well, and everyone that works at the club is, always really friendly and sort of really helpful with everything that we do as a cricket team. So really excited for what's to come.
Now, we mentioned Player of the Year. How pleased were you to be awarded that by the members and the staff and the fans?
Yeah, I suppose every trophy that you win is always really nice, and the fact that it's been voted by them people as well, that obviously makes it that more touching. So a real honour to win that. And
it wasn't the only award you picked up on the awards night, the County Championship Player of the Year as well. Was that a special moment?
Yeah, I think for me it just sort of gave me that closure on what's been a really good season for myself, and to pick up that award again was obviously really a proud moment as well.
Well, it was very deserving, because the top scorer in Division 1 of the County Championship, I looked at the stats, and other people, the batsman who finished second had played 14 with 27 innings, yourself with only 22 innings. 5 innings is a big difference, and when you've still topped it with that much room to go, it's quite incredible, really.
Yeah, I think it's, we talk about it a lot, we as batters more than anything, it's we really bat twice, which is, I suppose it's what good teams do, isn't it? We generally try and pride ourselves on batting once and batting big. We've done it on a couple of occasions and sort of didn't go towards wins, but I suppose the positive is that, we're still getting ourselves in good positions as well. And obviously the fact that, like you said, to finish that many in front and to have less innings, that's obviously really pleasing as well.
Well, 1,257 runs, if you haven't heard or if you're not aware. At what point of the season did you realise you're going to be close to finishing the top scorer?
To be fair, I never kept an eye on it. I knew that I obviously started well, and sort of went through a frustrating period where I kept getting starts, getting 30 or 40 or whatever, and sort of not making them count, I suppose, and turning them into hundreds and big hundreds. And that's the one thing as a batting unit we try and pride ourselves on. I spent a lot of time chatting to the coaches about sort of where they felt I was potentially going wrong, or why I was getting starts and not carrying on. Was it a lack of sort of concentration, I guess, which I obviously didn't feel like it was. But they made a couple of tweaks in the season as well, not big ones, but just ones that I think really benefited me towards the end of the season. And I'm not a massive stats man, but to finish with that weight of runs was obviously really pleasing.
Well, that's really interesting, because when the form's going good or it's not quite there, is it about thinking too much into it, or could that kick you off track a little bit as well? Is it just about sort of going out there, getting the rhythm and enjoying the cricket?
Yeah, I think I've made massive changes over the last couple of years in terms of state of mind stuff, and I think the one thing I've got really good at, or I'm still getting better at, but really good from where I was, is sort of understanding that it's not always going to be perfect, it's not always going to look perfect, and sort of my practice is very different to other people's as well. And I suppose I feel like I've just learnt what I need to get myself ready to go and play, and then providing I've done everything that I feel I need to do to get myself ready, the rest of it is sort of, the game just pans out as it is. Sometimes you're playing really well, you can get a good ball, other days you get yourself out. I think it's just being able to try and stay level-headed and understand that the game ebbs and flows, and take the rough with the smooth, I guess.
And if you had to choose one innings that was probably your best performance out there this season, which one would you choose?
Probably my 100 against Northants in September away. I didn't feel like I had much rhythm, and sort of the one thing I've done in the past is potentially got, I won't say bored, but sort of try and think I've got to do something. And I felt like I was tuning up a little bit at the start, and I suppose then the thing is I always want to put pressure back on a ball, and I didn't feel like I could do that, or everything that I tried didn't work. But I think the fact that I stuck at it, and then to finish with 170 was obviously really pleasing to see the work that I've been putting in to sort of pay off.
I guess it's not just the county championship as well. Good form in the one-day cup. Was that a good competition to enjoy?
Yeah, we were talking about this last week. I felt like I was just starting to get some rhythm in that, and obviously got the 100 at Blackpool, which was really pleasing again. And unfortunately picked up a bit of a calf niggle, and that unfortunately I didn't play in that comp again. But no, I'm obviously really looking forward to that again next year, and hopefully we can go a few better.
Well, you mentioned you want to put the bowlers under pressure and you want to tap them. When it changes to a one-day competition, does that give you more licence to go and do that?
I suppose so. I still think batting at the top of the order in one-day cricket still very much looks like, you've still got to build an innings. The one thing I've learnt over the last couple of years is one-day cricket, it's a lot longer than you feel when you're actually in the middle. The amount of times I got out in the power play or after 20, 25 overs, and you're still sat there thinking we've still got like half an innings left. So I've still given myself a little bit of time, but I felt like I was still able to put pressure on at the right times. And I suppose it comes down to matchups as well, who you feel you can get on that particular day or that particular pitch as well. And yeah, it's something we talk about a lot.
And looking at performances off the pitch, would you say you've been more of a leader in the dressing room and the team? Would you say you've stood up a bit more this season and had that in there?
I feel that way, yeah. I think obviously the more you play, and suppose the older you get, and we've got such a young dressing room as well. And I certainly felt since being capped, obviously you feel like a real senior player, and I suppose that you want to set examples, and for me that is obviously trying to score as many runs as I can and help other people, especially the younger boys, whether that be batting or bowling or fielding, whatever that might be in any respect. But yeah, I certainly feel like I've helped people out, and sort of bounced ideas off Keats as well, and he'll bounce them off me, and as we do with everyone. And yeah, it's certainly going in the right direction.
Now, looking at the season from a team's perspective on a whole, what was your assessment of the season?
Well, I think if you looked at where we finished, you would say that we'd obviously want to be higher up and challenging more for the silverware in all comps. But we were, especially in the Red Bowl, we were massively affected by the weather. I think towards the end of the season, our scorer Chris Rimmer said we'd lost the best part of 700 overs or something. So it's 2 games worth that we've not got a result through weather, and that potentially can make or break your season, I guess. I thought we played a lot of good cricket, and obviously there's a lot to learn from as well for us to work on in the winter and the coming months coming up to the season. But I think on the whole we were pleased with how we went about the stuff.
Well, you mentioned the weather there, and it is frustrating when it happens. It's raining behind us right now, but to only lose one game throughout the season sort of speaks for itself in terms of them games were on with good weather. And I remember the Surrey game, the first game of the season, started well, and then the weather came in, and you just don't know where it would have finished.
Yeah, it's one of them. You obviously can't prep for weather, I guess, and but it is something that we talk about all the time. Is how can we put pressure on, whether that be earlier or later in the game, to try and get ourselves in a position to win every game. And unfortunately the weather has played a big part in that.
I guess we talk about silverware, but what comes with that is consistency in the building blocks and the foundations, and in both the white ball competitions, reaching the knockout stages again shows that consistency.
Yeah, as I've said, we played good cricket. We played good cricket all year. There's always things we can get better at, of course there are. But like you said, to get to knockout stages in white ball competitions, and in red ball cricket, the table could have gone either way, like you said, whether that be weather or certain results going our way or whatever. So I think overall it was a good year.
Now, a quick word on Glenn Chappell, because he's been a huge part of this Lancashire Cricket Club, and he's been a huge part of what I imagine your career as well.
Yeah, I've never played under anyone else. I signed a scholarship under Ashley Giles, and then he left, and then obviously all my cricket's been played under Glenn Chappell, and you know, it's obviously really sad to see him leave. He spent 32 years here, and obviously did really well as a player, and you know, he offered us great support and all that comes with that as a head coach. It was obviously sad not to win more silverware underneath him, but I think what he offered as a coach and what he offered to us as players was fantastic.
And do you think what he's brought to your career and the team will still continue in seasons to come? He might not be there, but it don't mean that the principles have gone missing either.
Yeah, I mean, the foundation blocks have always been laid by him. You know, the way that we go about stuff and the way we are as a club and as a team has obviously been set by him as well, and that certainly won't leave. You know, you never know with new head coaches and different coaches potentially that you might go down certain routes, but I think the foundations of the whole club will still remain as they were.
Now I want to move on to international. The England Lions being selected once again. Are you pleased with that? Yeah,
obviously really proud of that again, to be in another winter with them and to travel overseas and go and have the opportunity to do another camp with them is fantastic. You know, it massively benefited me last winter, and the results have shown that this season, and hopefully I can benefit again and go even better next year.
Yeah, out in the UAE in not too long, I think, just over a month's time. What are your aims when you go on those sort of trips? What are your personal objectives for it?
I mean, obviously it's just to try and improve sort of where you're at, and obviously to train in a different environment with different people, different pitches, different scenarios. I suppose it's all the things that we necessarily can't do, whether that be in an indoor school or whether sort of the schedule doesn't allow us to work on certain things at times, because obviously we want to get away from the game when we can. And obviously with the schedule being so packed, it's pretty hard to fit certain amounts of practice in. So I suppose with them being long days out there, we can really nail stuff down and train different situations, and I suppose set up the stuff for the future.
Of course, George Baldson's included for the first time as well. You're pretty chuffed that he's going to be out there with you?
Yeah, he's come on leaps and bounds since playing. He's got a real senior head on his shoulders for someone who's so young. You know, he's had a great season again with bat and ball, and what he offers in the change room as well is nothing short of fantastic. So I think he'll thrive in that environment as well, and it's really nice to see the hard yards that he's put in and the success he's had for Lancs to hopefully go and do that for an England Lions shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking forward to next season then, which seems like a long way away. But you mentioned it is a young team here at Lancs, but I guess the overall aim, is it silverware again?
Yeah, always the case. But I think ultimately it's about, for us as a team, we try and pride ourselves the way we go about our cricket. And, you know, obviously there's, like I said before, the stuff that we all want to get better at individually, but as a team it's about staying strong together, keeping our morals what we're about, and, you know, hopefully the weather can help us out a bit more next year and we can see some silverware return.
Of course, a new coach, whoever it is, I don't think there's been any names yet, will be appointed. Is that going to change anything in the change rooms, or is that quite an exciting prospect?
For me, it's really exciting, you know, to see someone new that's going to come in. Like you said, I've no idea who that is.
But I thought you might have had the name for us there.
No, nothing for you, sorry. But yeah, obviously really exciting. You know, it might be the bit of freshness that we might need. Maybe bounce a couple of ideas that are different to the way we've probably seen them in the past. So, yeah, who knows?
And then personally, any aims for you? Is it to maybe keep it up there in the county championship?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately for me, as my role is to score as many runs as I can at the top of the order, whatever format that'll be in. And you know, obviously, I'm trying to do everything that I can in the winter to get myself in a place to be able to do that for the team, and hopefully the team reaps the rewards of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope so too. Well, thank you for joining us, Bosh, and all the best in UAE.
Thank you very much.